Surprise, bitch. I bet you thought you'd seen the last of me.
Hey guys, it's your boy Burnt Out Sis back at it again. And today we're going to be trying out the newly released unit called Nahkwol, or at least that's how I think you pronounce it. But I'm just going to call her Narwhal, so it's just like easier for everyone. But Narwhal was the center of a lot of controversy when she was first revealed, because a lot of people, especially turn 2 players, were very concerned about her effect on the game, especially since she's like a Lua 2.0, but a little bit more disgusting. But, you know, as soon as I heard that a unit that's bad for turn 2 players came out, I'm already interested, so we're here to test it out. Anyway, Narwhal hasn't been out for a few days, and while she is certainly strong, she definitely does suffer from a few weaknesses. Like if you go like Ran, Payra plus Imprint into her, that's like pretty rough. But I'm kind of trying to theory craft like a draft around Narwhal that works pretty well, and I found that to be like Narwhal plus Bunny Dom, because Bunny Dom kind of shores up Narwhal's weaknesses pretty well, because a lot of the units that Narwhal loses to, like faster Luas, faster Celius, faster Payras, they're all really bad into Bunny Dom if they're forced to proc her, and then nobody wants to draft, or nobody good I should say, or like that's not, so sometimes I draft to ban the first pick, but it's like not something you want to do. So basically I kind of put my opponent in a place where Narwhal threatens turn 1 because I put my best speed gear on her, but then I kind of protect her with Bunny Dom, and I found Bunny Dom to be a really obnoxious pick because she kind of discourages all these faster free extra turn people, and a big bonus is that when she pushes up she gives attack buff, so she's kind of like a more aggressive DJB. And I know a lot of the people that kind of like watch my videos like wish they had a DJB, but like Bunny Dom's kind of like your poor man's DJB, you know? Yeah, we're going into the first match. We're kind of speed racing Celius with Narwhal, but on this channel we're used to speed contesting openers with like 10 less base speed for fun, so like this is nothing new for us. We get into the match and our Narwhal does luckily outspeed, but we're just gonna put the disgustingness on full display here. So if you're able to sober in this and there's nothing that dodges or anything, they're all like giga cucked. Like they can't dual attack, something is sealed for fun, and like did you know that this seal is a 2-turn cooldown? So if you S2 first turn, you can lap around with speed buff S3 and then boom, you have another S2 ready to go. But anyway, we seal up this T-Cern, we're gonna S3, this Ocean Breeze pushes up, but like does it matter? No, because she's reset for fun. And then she's able to push Arrowell up, but Arrowell, oh look at that.
You wanna know what? No, I am gonna leave.
She's reset, which is like honestly kind of relatable. I kind of feel bad, but this is just like the new age openers. I will say though, Narwhal obliterates ML lane D like completely, which I do pretty like, because you can bind her so she can't counterattack, and then you can seal her. More fun stuff about this Narwhal unit is that you can actually ignore units like AOL, because bind prevents extra or off turn skill effects to not proc, so that's kind of disgusting. But anyway, we matched into the same guy we just matched like a few minutes ago, so like let's see what our opponent decides to adapt their draft with. They end up picking Steny here, which is like pretty nice. They pick Celius again, so there's that. But this changes very little. I think I'm gonna bait in. I'm gonna try to do what I normally do with, like, let's say like the first pick was Celius and the second pick is DJB. I'm gonna bait in a Sylvan Sage draft here, because a lot of people will try not to pick Sylvan Sage early because she has a lot of counters. But if you pick these counters, I'm more than happy, bro, because they are all incredibly atrocious into regular answers. Like they're very cleavable is what I want to say. Anyway, I picked Briarwitch just because Briarwitch is pretty good here, especially since I have souls. And I'm kind of thinking of a last pick I can pick here. I can't really pick Emma Laika just because of the 2, 3, and 4. Celius outspeeds, Ocean Breeze does the thing. So I decided to pick Lua, or not Lua. I decided to pick Ida here as like a bridge threatener because I want my opponent to ban Ida here just because it's pretty bad for him, I would say, because if my buddy Dom gets a turn, then I'm able to just push up with attack buff and delete his team. So we're going to see how this works out, where I try to like do a bait and switch with Sylvan Sage Vivian. It doesn't matter what my opponent picks here, I'm just gonna ban it. Yeah, that thing, sure, I guess. I'm not thrilled about having to ban it, but you know, it works out. I kind of haven't tested this comp into Celius because I'm normally very happy to let this draft go through if Lua was my first pick, because my Lua would just, you know, like reset up his whole team, put the other girl to sleep, and then it's fine. But we're just gonna see how it works out with Nakwhol. One big thing to note about Nakwhol too is that she's pretty selfish, as in like she doesn't give team-wide speed buff. I guess we'll just have to wait for the EE that gives her 10 speed and gives her S2 team-wide speed buff. I'm joking, by the way, SG. Please do not let that happen. But we're gonna use our skills. Can I also talk about how our S3 animations are so sick? I was kind of spooked about the Celius S1s, but it also disables counter dual attacks too for some reason. And since Sully doesn't get Daydream, she's kind of cucked. And then it looks like my opponent's Ocean Breeze Luca is not mullet enough. So we're actually able to go in here with our Ida, press our buttons. In hindsight, I think I just should have pressed S3 because it would have pushed me above him. And then I could soul burn Briar into Sylvan Sage, Vivian S3. But I was just having too much fun testing out this Narwhal unit. But yeah, from my limited amount of testing I've done, I would have to say that this Narwhal unit is a must pull if you like playing turn 1, or even if you're turn 2. There's a few people in my guild who early pick Narwhal, and when the opponent picks a lot of aggressive picks, they're really good at like, anti-aggression, so they just pivot into anti-aggression. Or if they leave Narwhal in, Narwhal is just so fucking broken that like Narwhal's great in standard too, like, you know what I mean? But I will have to say that Narwhal does have a few clear weaknesses. Like, as I said, like she's weak to like Ranpera imprints. This Bunny Dom protection measure is not perfect against it, but it's like serviceable, so like what can you do? Anyway, my opponent looks pretty tilted, especially since I used the same draft against them basically twice in the same row. But yeah, a little disturbing, I will have to say. And one thing I will say is that Narwhal needs Guiding Light. I used to run my Lua without Guiding Light, which is basically like I just gave all of Lua's gear onto this Narwhal unit. But I will say that using her in that way is kind of difficult because okay, so a 308 Lua is a 301 Narwhal, which is a decrease in 7 speed. And that 7 speed is actually really significant because at 300 speed, you can't properly contest like Celius's and Lua's anymore. So you kind of need Guiding Light as like an extra protection factor. And, you know, it's not ideal, but we kind of like do what we must, you know? But yeah. I would have to like definitely say that she's a pretty strong opener. And remember when I said when Candy first came out that like since Candy's so broken, it means like all the other openers are gonna be power crept and broken. Yeah, like that's Narwhal for you. Like, hooray! We love fair and balanced units. But can't even complain when I'm fucking abusing her. But yes, we're doing the same thing here. My opponent first picks Lua, which is like kind of sucks because you're basically the speed imprint down for fun. But again, oh, my opponent actually stole my Narwhal Bunny Dom comp for me. So what I'm going to choose to do here is I am just going to go balls to the walls. I can't really tank down into turn 2 against that stuff. So I am just going to go for, you know, the hardcore cleave. Oops, almost pick Edward here, but we're gonna go for Jacko, but we're pivoting into hardcore cleave. I am crazy and I'm not even gonna care. They can pick Karina and stuff here, but again, we have Narwhal and we have Soul, so that's always an option for us. Like, I can always pick Emma Rowana, or I could if I had Emma Rowana, but my opponent doesn't know that I don't have Emma Rowana, you know? So like, it's like that kind of mind games. But we're gonna threaten the full cleave here. We're pretty committed, I think. But my account does have a few cleave answers open on purpose. So I'm gonna pick a second speed imprint here, and then I'm gonna pick Celine here. And if you notice something about my enemy's team, is that my opponent does not actually have very good answers to this Celine, because he's a solo DPS, and if he presses any non-attack skill, he's like immediately dead to this Celine. And I'm pretty confident in my ability to race. Am I? You know what? We're limit testing, so I'm gonna say that I'm confident. I'm thinking of banning Bunny Dom, but I'm also scared of what this like MLK1's gonna do. Oh, speaking of MLK1, I need to change up my player profile card, but like we'll do that later, whatever. But yeah, we ban MLK1. My opponent bans Zeo, but like that's to be expected. But we have to kind of pray to outspeed. We are 2 speed up on the speed imprint, but Lua's still like 5 speed faster, so I don't know how that's gonna turn out. But it does turn out that like Lua does outspeed me by like a very small margin. But again, it's just one of the weaknesses of Narwhal. It's like 115 base speed is pretty fast, all things considered, but it's like pretty slow in these situations, you know? Like, she's faster than standard, but she's not like fast enough to like truly contest cleave. Anyway, my opponent can't really do anything here. That dual attack was unnecessary, but I think what I have to go for here is I go for the S1. I was debating ceiling, but I think I go for the S1 silence pushback, but we don't get it because it's only 65%, 75%, or whatever. We get a sleep here by Buddy Dom, which like sucks even harder. And since we don't get silence, we're gonna eat a Sid S3 into S2 here, I think, which sucks even more. And see Lilius pushing or pulling Bunny Dom and putting my Celine to sleep also really sucks. But yeah, as expected, you know, Sid deletes my 2 squishy DPS. Sid is like kind of low damage actually. If my Vildred had a little bit more EHP, I think it would have been better, but he's kind of holding all the hand-me-down, so I will definitely have to re-gear for that, because the Sid only doing 10k damage on a Wind Rider S1 is kind of sussy. And unfortunately, Bunny Dom gets to sleep again. Like, he can get a 75%, but I can't get a 65%. Like, whatever, bro. And since the Sid was basically gonna go again, we're kind of forced to GG out. But yeah, like Narwhal is not uncounterable, but I think that Narwhal is pretty much uncounterable as a turn 2 player, with a very heavy caveat. Turn 2 only players have been struggling for a while, so like Narwhal dunking on them is not like anything new, but I would definitely have to say that like in this day and age, needing you need an option to speed contest things like a Pera or something, because you cannot let aggro players just pick whatever they want. Anyway, we're going up into the next match where we're up against Juicy Karage. If you guys don't know, this guy runs a fast Spirit Eye Celine plus a fast Arya, and this Spirit Eye Celine is on Wind Rider and this Arya is on Book, and it has like defense and damage, but it's just at 290 speed for like fun. Anyway, I'm continuing to test out my comp. Bunny Dom is actually really good into Karage because the first 2 units he uses both have extra turn soul burns, and if they want to use any of that shit, they're gonna have to be prepared to eat a Bunny Dom immunity plus skill no. Like Bunny Dom actually, I think, has finally killed off Celius, because the tempo loss is just so huge. Like sure, you get vigor off and stuff, but you get immunity, you get skill nulls, and you get attack buff to deal with. on the enemy side, and I think that's a little too much. So I think we're seeing the final fall of Celius. I know it's been like 3 years, guys, and we're tired of seeing Celius, but SG finally said that we're gonna buff up the original Celius counter to a degree where like you can't compete anymore. But my opponent decides to pick Rin here, which I think was pretty interesting, and they pick Sage Ball. If I remember correctly, the Sage Ball is also like 290 on book, so like bro, like what are we doing? How do we get here? We picked Zio just to threaten book, or just to threaten turn 1. And we're also gonna go for Jacko, because Jacko is not too bad into this team. It's kind of bad into Arya, but again, this Arya is really fast with no ER. And if I can just seal it eventually with Nakwhol, then we're pretty good too. My opponent's hovering. What's this girl called? Shooting Star Arcade? No, that's the other one. Infinite Horizon Light Arcades. I'm not too scared of this Light Arcades. She is really annoying with her like 15% CR push and whatever, but I'm pretty sure my Zio into Jacko will cut enough, so I should be fine. I think the best ban for my opponent is actually this Bunny Dom, I'll say, or like even this Nakwhol is not a bad ban. Oh, but I think surprisingly they go for Sid, which is not what I was expecting, but yeah, let's go into the match. Okay, so my game plan going into this match is just like push back the Rin. Oh, this Rin's faster than my Nakwhol. Very interesting, very interesting. But we're just gonna push back this Rin. But the Shooting Star Arcades is actually on a Turnus, so she cuts like a disgusting amount, which I was not expecting here. That's a really cool anti-cleave tech that I might have to steal, because she's on immunity, because like most Shooting Star Arcades are really, really high ER. So you normally do not see people try to debuff her or anything. This kind of sucks. I go for the S1. I hit and I get a stun for free. But I don't think it would have changed much, because what would have happened was that she counters and Jacko would have gotten like pretty injured, but I don't think she would have died or anything. But basically what would have happened is that I would have just went with the Nakwhol S3 into Soulburn and stripped everyone off here. But I guess the stun really mattered. But you know, this is what you get for running 290 speed Arya with no ER on damage to cheese people. We unluckily do not get Seal. Like, oh my god, the days when I thought it was bad that my Lua would not land target or sleep are basically back again, where we just have Narwhal just bricking her Seal nonstop. My opponent's Soulburn's here to go into S3, but he kind of gave my whole team skill nullifier, and on top of that, all his units are tuned to lose their immortality buff too. We go for the Piggy Sleep here onto Celine, which we get because we're good. We go for the Silence onto Shooting Star Arcades, but apparently it has like really high ER on immunity, which I thought was pretty surprising. We get a lucky dual tag, but like, let's be honest here, she would have just died to the S1, S2 of Zio, or the S1 plus S1 proc, and then I would have just S3'd and then S1 Soulburn onto Spirit Eye Celine. But this Spirit Eye Celine has no ER, so she just gets stunned up here, and then Arya has to skip her turn because she's stunned up. And we managed to out-cheese a cheeser on ladder. Like, how disgusting is that? We did get some good RNG. Like, our fire units hit the Arya, but like, you know what? After last season's bad RNG, it's just justice. Yeah, let's just call it justice. But we're gonna keep playing on here. I'm kind of really digging this Narwhal unit though. I will definitely say though, she's not balanced. I think her kit does a little too much. Like, did I mention how her S2 is literally on a 2-turn cooldown, and you can infinitely cycle it. So this unit has like infinite speed buff, like by yourself. So that's kind of disgusting. Like my Narwhal at, what's it called? My Narwhal at 300 speed is basically like a 400 speed unit. So you will lap below 200 speed units like on the CR bar over and over again, and she cycles like crazy, which is kind of disgusting. My opponent's doing some like weird Zeo trap, but like we don't have Zeo, and Narwhal doesn't work the same way as Zeo, so I'm kind of confused. But basically I pick Karina here. So what I want to do is I want to actually press Narwhal S3 turn 1, but then we're gonna actually Narwhal S2 onto Aiden. But since Aiden already countered, we'll proc our Karina and we'll use their Aiden as a bridge, you know? So that's basically what we're going for. My opponent picks Zeo here, except like, I don't really care about Zeo with my draft. I will say that's something really nice. Like having a Guiding Light opener just means that you can ignore Zeo a bit more because you can like Zeo trap or whatever. So that's quite nice. My opponent picks Watcher Shuri to contest, except I don't really care about Watcher Shuri, I don't think. I was kind of struggling on what to pick, but I actually pick Landy here just because Landy's like a Guiding Light DPS that is pretty well matched into everyone except for Lua. Or why do I ban Lua? Oh, it's because like, yeah, okay, she's Guiding Light, so she doesn't care about Stenny or Aiden turn 1, and she can actually like threaten them with her S3s and stuff. Yeah. That's why I picked her. She gets banned out, which is unfortunate, but my Narwhal is only 310, and that's kind of not the speed you need to be if you're contesting Zeo's Theater torrents. But again, this Zeo goes first. It's a little squishy, so I'm kind of concerned if it's like an effectiveness variant or whatever, but we'll have to see. They run into Bunny Dom, but apparently Bunny Dom just like had enough ER to just resist everything. But again, remember, we actually picked Karina to bridge off of Sid, so I go for the slightly riskier play and we eat the counter attack here. But since it's not on Moonlight Dreamblade, we basically get a Karina push here, and we go for the seal, but bro, what is this? And basically my Sid gets to die for free, because what should have happened is that this Aiden got sealed, and since she is sealed, she doesn't get the CR push anymore. But you know, I'm not going to be upset about it. I still think this is winnable somehow. I don't bother pressing bunny skills because I just want this Aiden to die here. And if my opponent is smart, they won't soul burn here because of Bunny Dom. But I'm guessing they thought they would kill with their S1 here. But since Bunny Dom only needs around like 130 ER,
Look into my eyes.
you can make your Bunny Doms like really tanky, which is what I did here. And so she's able to live a lot of stuff. We get the very based skill nulls, but my opponent goes for the kill here, or like to break the skill null. But we go for the silence here onto Watcher Shuri, so it can't actually kill my Karina. Our Bunny Dom's gonna die, which kind of sucks because it procs Sashay, but our Karina does have death buff, so I'm hoping that it's gonna be pretty good. And this is where my bulk comes in. So if you remember my Lua, you will remember that it's like freakishly tanky for being like nearly 310 speed. And my Narwhal inherited all those traits. So she's actually able to survive a lot of punishment from this Stenny, which I don't think my opponent was expecting. But basically, we kind of have to S3 Zeo here because there's no other way I'm going to kill it. And then since this Watcher Shuri is silenced, we're going to go and try to give myself speed buff here. And it kind of sucks. Like, I was kind of hoping Narwhal would live to that, but it unluckily does not. We managed to kill the Watcher Shuri, but Stenny is unable to kill, thank god, even with max stacks. And we kind of have to pray that we don't get free to play Artifact, but we get Rocket Punch and we're able to kill off our enemy. So that was a pretty good showcase. Like, pretty good showcase. I'll definitely be experimenting with this comp a lot though. Like, I think it's so disgusting. I'm kind of in love, to be honest. But yeah, like Narwhal allows for a lot more counterplay. Like there is definitely some counterplay. Like you can pick a lot of blue units and you can pick evasion, but none of those are like true counters per se because her S2 doesn't have a hit check. Like the seal applies before, and if you pick a bunch of blue units, you can pick a bunch of green units and you can like do the same thing. And for the final match of the day, we actually match up into a fellow guildie of mine. Hours, shout out to Hours. They're one of my besties in life. They're very chill and they're also another cleaver. So I'm like very interested to see how I can make Narwhal work against like a cleaver. But basically I'm gonna first pick this unit because like of course I am. What else am I gonna pick? Hours is well known for having 6 or 7 legend frames. Okay, he looks like he's going cleave, which is like to be expected. So I want to do what I was doing last season. So I'm gonna pick Bunny Dom here. Like so, like the idea here is that you pick a speed contester, you pick a cleanser, and you pick Politis. So people who first pick Steny Zio, you can't actually ML Rowan as this unless you plan on banning Politis, but like that comes with like its own host of issues. But I'm putting him in like a really awkward spot if he wants to cleave here because I've taken Politis away from him and I have a bunch of things to kind of like hand trap him. Like the Zio does not want S2. Not S2, it's not that. But like I'm like hand trapping Rowana. Like I'm discouraging Rowana from coming out, basically, is like what I'm trying to say. Anyway, in my very, very, very brave manner, or brazen, I guess would be the better word, I pick Briarwitch Iceria plus a Hawk here because none of his units technically threaten them. Okay, this Jacko does, so I definitely have to ban that, but I'm pretty confident that from here I'll be able to successfully wear down his team. He bans Politis, which makes sense because like, you know, like for Zio to bridge for Jacko properly, Politis can't be there. So that's what I mean by like Politis kind of like discourages like these kind of like bridging cleaves. But anyway, Zio does take the first turn, which is not too surprising. Hours waves because like, you know, we're guildies and we know each other, but Zio's gonna S3 into Bunny Dom. I'm kind of hoping that this is like, oh no, it's not. It goes into the Hawk, which I'm pretty surprised about. But you know, won't question it, won't question it. I think, no, he has to S2 here, yeah. Rand is actually like the okayest matchup into Bunny Dom because you strip off everything with Soulburn, especially if there's no like hand trapped like Aiden or whatever. And so he's able to strip everything off, but the Hawk does get cleansed and my opponent, Ours, does not proc RNL. So I give a friendly neighborhood emote back and then we're able to like counter initiate here with Bunny Dom. We go for the S2. Like I know he has immunity, but I just want to give myself self speed buff to cycle back around, and hopefully our Briarwitch does not get 20%ed here by Aiden. And since we have attack buff and everything, like we should be like Bingus Chungus from here on out. We hit everybody, we death break everybody, Aiden dies, Rand dies. I just go for the raw S3 into Zio and we're able to cleave a cleaver. So wow guys, pretty impressive, pretty impressive. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. There's not much else. If you're curious about like stats, like here are some tentative stats. This is my Narwhal stats. It's just like, you know, my Lua's gear on him, and then it just has like pretty decent effectiveness. The speed is really good. Like this would be a 300 flan. Like that's how like fast it is. And she has really good bulk because that's just like how my gear rolled. Here's my Bunny Dom. She's kind of like junky, to be honest, because I don't really have immunity gear, but the important thing for her is the speed, bulk, and immunity. So yeah, but that's basically about it. I'll catch you all guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.